Good afternoon and welcome to Flower Juice. My name's John McDonald and today we're going to look at a spring arrangement, and I really wanted to use this framework that I've made. So this was something I made in the winter and specifically for Christmas, and what we've got is I found this little vase that has like multiple little bud vases, and using that as a base, because it's got little holes, I put in basically some canes, which are kind of quite flexible, so you can easily bend them or snap them. You're not going to be able to curve them, but you get quite a nice linear effect. So we packed them into these holes so they were vertical, and then started to fold them out so that we could make an interesting design or an interesting framework. Now this is actually some straw, and what I did was I took a thick long wire and just started to bind on straw. So I used like a decorative, like a binding wire, but like a decor wire, just to hold that on. Now you could just as easily use twine or raffia, depends on the effect you want to get. And why have I done that? I've done that just to create some interest and a little bit more volume, and when we look into our design, it's going to be more interesting. So this I had just as a sit-alone design, and it looks quite nice. But with these holes, they're a little bit small. So what I want to do today is I want to use this low dish, put our container in, and add some water. Now, our ceramic foot is going to be fine with sitting in water, and our outer tray is fine with the water. So straight away we've created a water source for adding fresh flowers, and we've got a framework which we can put them into. Now the flowers that I want to use today are these beautiful tulips, and we've got two-tone tulips and yellow tulips, and these are just basically a run-of-the-mill tulip, but they're quite beautiful. Now I think when we've got this shape, we could go in different directions. Like we could actually do more of an arrangement that's kind of massed. We could also add vertical line as well, if we wanted. But I think this is quite interesting in itself. So we're going to stick with our flowers going long ways, and we can just start to work in our flowers. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for our longer ones first. And what I'd really like is for the stems to come down to this middle area. So that we're not really creating a messy look with flower stems everywhere. So I'm really just looking for my really bendy, flexible ones. Now you might find that some of these have got too many leaves, so we don't want to overpower it with leaves. And if you've got like a wayward petal like that, you can just take it off. It's not the end of the world. The other thing to remember is we've created a base that's quite interesting. So we don't then want to hide that base. We want to keep it a little bit transparent so we can see it. So I'm going to remove some of these leaves. And I do like the leaves, but I think if we have too much leaves going on further out, this is going to be a problem. But there's no reason why we couldn't use this just in itself. So we can actually bring that in and use that as another piece of foliage. And of course it makes sense in there because it is a tulip and we're using tulips. Now you could really enjoy creating a frame like this, but you could also really enjoy just deciding where you're going to place your flowers. And this is the beauty about making something that is, you know, with dried materials or with materials that are going to last, is that you can then re-change it, readapt it, and turn it into something else. So straight away you can see as we're adding our volume, we're beginning to build up more of an impact because of the colour of the tulips. So very much you want to just look and see how your flowers are lying, what they're doing, and how best to play them. But what I love about tulips is they'll grow. So this is going to change and turn into something totally different. Because tulips are photosensitive, so they're going to grow towards the light. Now I'm going to keep this arrangement quite simple, but you could add any sorts of details to this. So you could add coloured ribbon, even Easter eggs. It depends what you want to do, but you can totally adapt this and make it into something that's more themed if you prefer. But it's also a bit fun, and this would look great on a dining room table. So as you can see, we're able to see the straw, we're able to see the tulips, and we're able to see the canes. So we're not losing the elements that are there. We're actually showing off the mechanic and enjoying what it is. And that's what I was saying earlier, was there's no point in making this to then hide the work that you did on that really intricate mechanic. I do love tulips. I've got a little wayward stem here, so we want to just bring that back in line. In fact, it's a little bit crazy. I would like to bring one or two lower down. So just taking that colour down a level as well is quite fun. And we can even fold the leaves just to bring them in there as well. And there we go. We've got a creative, original spring arrangement that would look ideal on a long table. So this would look great down a dining room table. We've kept it quite light and transparent. Now, if you wanted, you can add, as I say, your own details. You could do a little bit of fern, something to give a contrast if you want. But I quite like the way that this is just kind of stripped back. You're seeing all the elements. It's interesting, but it is what it is. And I think that's quite good rather than adding more and more and you start to lose that. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, click here to subscribe and we look forward to you with our next design.